a girlfriend. Treat her so right, only make her smile. What would you want with a freak like me? Spend all my time, yeah, lost in grief. You say all you want is the best for me. Yeah, it's not love if you up and leave. Don't leave me, yeah. Keep on leaving me, yeah. Keep on leaving me, yeah. What if I don't know what I need? What if what I like is fucking up me? What if I'm stupid and naive? What if it's really not that deep? What if you keep on hurting me? What if I'm with you for your real? What if your God's plan for me? I fucked, I can't get it up, I can't know. I wanna be perfect, I wanna feel brand new. Most of all, I wanna be good enough for you. Yeah, I wanna be perfect, I wanna feel brand new. Most of all, baby, I do it all for you. What would you want with a freak like me? Spend all my time, yeah, lost in grief. You say all you want is the best for me. It's not love if you up and leave.
That avalanche of noise was Vernon Jane, jazz punkers. Very happy to have Niamh, Emily and Joe with me. How are you?
Very good.
Great.
Yeah.
I should mention also that's live in the studio. If you want to have a look at the guys, or me for that you know, head on over to the rte.ie website. Baby, I'm only with you for your weed, man.
Totally. Awesome.
Is this autobiographical?
Not necessarily. It's kind of taking a look at yourself and what you bring to something. And if you like, the lyrics of the songs are very much exploring, like, what if I'm not in this for the right reasons? What if I'm not good enough? What's down the line for me? And sometimes you make choices for the wrong reasons.
Okay. Like all great songs, it asks us to look at ourselves and say, what are you doing?
Like, what am I at?
Yeah.
That is important.
Yeah.
Do you write all the words?
I do. Sometimes they might say, you know, that's a good word or that's a bad word.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever said that.
I don't think you've said it.
I
no.
think you're perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah, everything that comes out of your mouth is...
They critique
Yeah.
your work.
But that's the critique, is I'm great.
Niamh is always
Yeah,
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm too fragile to take any real criticism, to be honest. They're very supportive. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
What have you guys been up to?
We've been getting by. Yeah.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
doing very
Riding dirty.
We've been
Yeah.
surviving. We're
well.
trying
Riding
to...
dirty.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means, but all right.
You know, like,
They
Yeah,
go
riding
dirty, trying to
Right,
get
yeah.
me riding dirty. They see me rolling,
they hate it.
they're trolling it. I think it was like Chameleonaire or something like that.
Yeah.
Something
Not
like
just
that.
a drummer.
No, I'm actually pretty talented. I do a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A lot
but I'm not
behind.
allowed.
Yeah.
Just drums, That's they say every day. Neve just drums,
Yeah.
just drums.
But she's very good at drums.
Thank you.
Yes, yes, she is.
And she grounds us in the modern culture.
Yeah.
So like the hits of the day, like Rollin' Dirty and
Yes.
stuff.
Yeah.
We might not be up on these things, but Neve.
Well, you don't like. You
It
actually
keeps your
don't
finger
like
on the
my
pulse.
genre of music. You always slag it, actually.
I think we have in the past
It's
always
true.
slagged it, but I think we've grown to
Thanks.
accept it.
So you're not so delicate in your critique of Neve as she is.
No,
with you?
they're actually really harsh all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
Don't be harsh with the band.
No, we're all very different, and that's why it works. That's really why it works, is that we're all very different.
Everyone's different.
And you have to love people for their differences, and we're all very different, so that's what works.
Yeah, it doesn't.
You told me earlier on that the current album was written during lockdown.
Yeah, and recorded during lockdown as well.
Yeah, so never played live.
Never played live, and I think it did change the songs a bit, yeah.
Have you now adapted them? Or are they exactly as they were recorded?
Definitely adapted.
Adapted, like it's kind of
Okay.
cool when we play live, you know, you might feel a hit together, and
Yeah.
then you do the hit, and that's not on the recording, but it will be at every live show, so there's slight nuances.
Yeah, there's a weird sense of evolution, I think, when you take them live, because as you recycle them and as you go over them again, you come up with lots of things where you're kind of thinking, oh man, it'd be nice if I thought of that in the studio. Oh, it would have been nice if I figured this out in the bit that's immortalized forever at this moment in time. But it's nice to have it then as like a snapshot of what happened during that time, and then we can move on and work with it as we go forward.
Did you ever see that series, Classic Albums? The U2 one, I think it's on the Joshua Tree, and the Edge is back in studio and he solos himself and he goes, oh, that's how I play it. He's been playing it wrong for years.
You're talking about that there's a
New record?
New record, yeah, it's called Chest Pains and Side Pieces, and it'll be out in the new year.
Chest pains
And side pieces.
and side pieces.
Yeah, yeah.
Intriguing.
Yeah, it kind of reflects what it was like. You know, the chest pains is the really difficult things that happen in life, and
Yeah.
the side pieces are the things you have to keep doing, even though you're experiencing something terrible. So, yeah,
Right.
that's kind of the
And
basis
is it
of the
more
album.
jazz punk?
It is a different flavour of us. I do think it's a gentler
Did
version
you coin
of
that,
us.
by the way? Because I never heard of jazz punk.
No, we had to start it, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't out there.
We
So.
thought it sounded cool,
Is
and
it a
then we
bit of
thought,
an oxymoron?
I would say absolutely not. Because I think of all the jazz dudes who were really pushing at the edge of things and doing the weird, freaky stuff that
I
were...
suppose that's the essence of punk, is you do what
Yeah.
you like.
Yeah.
Although the difference being that, 3 chords, you
Yeah.
probably know 4.
I 3.5.
Yeah, Jones.
I love those half chords.
Yeah.
You played bass here. Are you normally a guitar player?
I'm normally a guitar player, so I play guitar on the records
Right.
and the other records. But then there's just been some restructuring
Yeah.
and different positions opened up, and I had to step into someone's office for a little while.
Right.
I'd always play bass along with guitar. So, yeah, it was nice to do. It was nice to experience from a different perspective as well. And it's also very interesting to hear kind of lines that I wrote and played being played back, being able to hear them from outside of me.
So Tom.
It's
So will you
validating. 'cause you
stick-
kinda,
Will you stick with bass?
No. No,
You go back to guitar?
Yeah, I'll try and balance both worlds.
I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Change things around. And
It's nice, a nice change of scenery.
Right. We'll be chatting to the guys a little bit later on. Every episode has a guest. Molly O'Mahony is the guest today. She'll be playing Bittersweet, but I was just having a look at a video she did yesterday called Remember to be Brave. You got to check it out. Really good video. Lovely lyric in it. Kindness is king. Okay, so over to Molly O'Mahony.
Walking through the city, alive and teeming, mind in a heightened state, resembles dreaming. Cheeks betray a glow that show my heat in spite of the cold. What's the devil done who spun these mixed sensations? Paradoxically intoxicating situation. Heaven help me, how can this be? Please somebody give me a guide. Oh, when life gives you lemons, put sugar too. What in the world is a girl supposed to do after a bittersweet week? Oh, want it bittersweet week it's been. Oh, it's been. Ooh. 'Cause with a heavy heart I passed the start of this last week. Now a taste of bliss and almost kiss some worlds apart. The air was sweet and portentous. I'm aggrieved and tormented all the while. 'Cause you know and I know this is danger zone, and all these twinkling lights are full of brightness and foreboding. Have a suitcase of sorrow and a chance at keeping it closed. Oh, when life gives you lemons but sugar too, what in the world is a girl supposed to do after a bittersweet week? Oh, want a bittersweet week it's been. Oh, it's been. Ooh, oh yeah. Walking steady on toward a destination, profoundly dumbfounded by these revelations. Possibility, insanity, reality, my God, I don't know. 'Cause though your smiling eyes so entice, soft with care, and your scent filled my senses in the crisp December air, upon these hearts, the heavy handprint of love still lingers there, still lingers there. Oh, when life gives you lemons but sugar too, what in the world is a girl supposed to do after a bittersweet week? Who wants a bittersweet week? Who wants a bittersweet week? It's been. Oh, it's been.
Molly O'Mahony, thank you for travelling up from West Cork.
Oh, my pleasure.
All the way to County Meath.
All the way to County Meath.
What is that song?
That is Bittersweet. That
Right.
is an album from, or rather a track from my recently released album, The House of David.
Okay, and where can people get that?
They can get it on Spotify, they can get it on Bandcamp, they can get all the usual platforms.
Okay, brilliant. Well, thank you very much for coming up.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Tips and tricks on this episode is the legend that is Dave Fanning. Dave Fanning, welcome to Sessions from Oblivion. You're looking well.
Inside I'm dying.
I spent all the 80s wanting to be interviewed by you. And now I'm interviewing you.
Get a life, Andrew, get a life.
Do you know that the Fanning Rock Sessions were the inspiration to this show?
Yeah, I think the Fanning Rock Sessions were probably the inspiration for quite a few things. I know a few sort of well-known Irish authors who've written books saying, I never knew that there was a world outside my small town in Ireland. So I listened to Dave Fanning and realised that the band he's playing comes from 9 miles up the road. I cannot believe a band 9 miles up the road is playing music that I actually like. I didn't even know that kind of thing existed. On that level, it was always good, yeah.
This is tips and tricks. So what's the first thing you'd say to a young band?
The first thing I'd say to a young band, and it's not to do with radio as such, it's just to do it, like, for instance, you can rehearse for 6 weeks inside a shack or inside a shed or whatever, but there's nothing better than playing in front of an audience. That sorts out the men from the boys or whatever it is. And it's just a much better way to do it. It's like 4 days rehearsals in 45 minutes. Having said that, the one thing I always say is, don't be talking to me. Talk to a band who's in one position, one step above you. And if that means that, for instance, just take Whelan's, you got the main stage there in Dublin, in Wexford Street. It's not huge, but it's the standard, the famous pub, whatever it is. There's a room upstairs. In fact, there's 2 or 3 rooms upstairs. And one of them takes very few people, but people play there every single night. The band that plays there, talk to them. Go to the gig and talk to them and say, how did you get this? Or even if there's a band on before them, talk to them and say, how did you get this? Like, basically, you should be asking the band who's one step above you, that you think is one step above you, how did they get where they are? And then you try and get it as well. That's my biggest advice.
Cool. Do you know a Northern Irish band called Cherrim?
Cherrim?
Yeah.
I do know an Northern Irish band called Cherrim. It's 3 girls
That's right.
And, we had them on Fanning at Whelan's, if you were watching, only last year on the television. Yeah.
They were on the show, and before I cut into tips and tricks, I said, what have you guys got in way of, tips or tricks for other people? And they said, oh, every time we go out, we have to get 5 email addresses, each of us. And that doesn't matter. Yeah, for people in the media or in the band. I just thought that was great advice, and it served them well.
That makes an awful lot of sense, absolutely, because if you think you go to college and you get letters after your name, it really is college or not college. It's who you know or who you get to know, or it's the network that you make sure you get to know, that kind of thing. It really is. That's what it's all about. But I just think if you go to where it is that you'd like to be, find out how the person who's there got there.
Yeah, cool. Second tip or trick.
Oh my God. Okay. The one I would say more than anything these days, certainly in the last 10 years, is don't be stupid about social media. Command it, be in charge of it, understand it, and know exactly what it can or can't do. In that, that's funny coming from me, who's barely able to send a text. But absolutely, social media is just the single most vital. How shall I put it this way? We had the agricultural revolution, changed the world. We had the industrial revolution, changed the world. Well, the technological revolution, sorry, they don't call it that. The information age has come along in the last sort of 25 years, but in particular in the last 10. And in terms of being in a band and all the ways to use it, you don't have to know everything, the single thing about it, but the whole thing of social media, you really need to have your head together about all that and get those email addresses or whatever it is, or text addresses or whatever. That's what you need.
Yeah, get the likes, get the streams, get the people watching your video on YouTube.
Get connections as well. Yeah.
Final tip or trick, Dave.
Oh my God. Well, obviously, when I said earlier on about social media, one part of that is that you've got to understand it's a business. It definitely is a business. If you can get somebody else that you can completely trust to look after that side of it, say, I think U2 got Paul McGuinness, who was making deals with Frank Barcelona, Springsteen's manager in America, while U2 were in London. And I remember meeting Bono on the streets of Dublin once, and he says to me, you're going to London. I go, oh God, every band goes to London. They'll be broken up by Christmas. You sure you went, okay, fair enough. They were never going to London. They were going to London to simply hop on that rock to jump to the far side. They were always going to America. They used London as a stepping stone. And while they were there, McGuinness was doing his thing. Now, if you can get something like that, it's fantastic. But it doesn't, and he was getting radio stations to make sure that when U2 came over, that they'd interview them and play them on that, in Boston in particular. But that doesn't happen. That's difficult. There's no question about it. But it's just...
Yeah, why do you think a band needs a manager? They can do all the social media stuff themselves. They can build their product. They can get their records out. They can use DistroKid or TuneCore or whatever. But at what stage do they need them?
It's funny you should say that, because it is really true that, for instance, bands that... the way you get yourself over to something now, it's like you go to this. My daughter went to something, Lizzie McAlpine, 2 nights ago in the Button Factory, and then something else with another female, 23 years of age from America, who I don't know. And I remember I went to something with her, with that guy with 3 names, whose name I can't remember, Roy Bean County or something. And the place was stuffed in Vicar Street. I didn't see an ad, I didn't see anything. You don't need an ad anymore. You simply stick it onto the thing. And if you have any kind of following at all for a band like this, they'll all know about it and all go. In other words, MCD don't need to take out ads for certain gigs anymore, because you just put it into that fan thing, like Red Hot Chili Peppers are playing. That's all they need, So it actually takes care of itself. It's brilliant. They don't even have to spend money on that. So you do need a manager, though. You do need a manager, because there's a negotiation to be made every single day with every single thing you do. And you're better off if you can concentrate on the music. Having said that, most bands, certainly starting off, the first few rungs of the ladder will always be part of those decisions anyway. Obviously they will be part of the decisions all the way along, but they wouldn't let one person take the whole thing over and do the whole thing. There are 70,000 pieces of new music, I believe, being put up on Spotify every day. So, it's a dogfight out there. It's just not that easy to do, It just isn't.
If I was an A&R man and you were in a band, I want to see that you've got many thousands of streams, that you've gone far enough yourself. Because if you've only got a couple of hundred, I'll be thinking, people don't care about this.
That's 100% true. That social media thing is absolutely huge. I'm not sure it should be that way because a lot of people are very scattered and like, I mean, I could imagine Tom Waits would never have got involved now with something like social media, and just hope the best of what he was doing. That's fine by me. But by the same token, yeah, you just have to. I mean, like, for instance, that thing I said even earlier on, like you'd be much better off playing in the small room of Whelan's than on the main stage because definitely pack a small room is a very good one for a live thing. It really is, because that's word of mouth then afterwards, and then you move on. And how many major concerts have been sold by MCT and they had to move the venue because twice as many people wanted the ticket, they just go to a bigger venue. And that kind of buzz makes it look like it's important. And do you know something? It is.
Yeah, the MCT are saving a fortune on advertising. Dennis probably needs the money anyway.
Well, yeah, that's the point. The poor guy, he's been at it a long time. He deserves everything he can get. But no, the thing is, like, absolutely, there's no question about it. Obviously, I could give the standard stuff of rehearse.
Yeah.
Don't forget that, and that is kind of important in that. But there's no harm in playing in front. Even if the room is packed with your friends and your family, it doesn't matter. It's scary stuff playing up on a stage anywhere, and just get that over.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay. Dave, thank you very much for taking the time. Fair play to you.
Thanks, Andrew. And the very best of luck with everything you're doing. Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you. Cheers, Dave.
Thank you, Dave Fanning.
Yeah, it's always great to see Dave. I always feel he's such a treasure. He's done so much for the music industry and for young artists coming up.
Is a legend.
Yeah, honestly.
Do you know all those people on Tips and Tricks all do for free?
Oh.
Yeah, we've had Louis Walsh, we've had David Bowie's guitar player, we've tons of people in PR, and it's all, they're giving their time for free.
That's pretty cool.
Very nice.
What are Vernon and Jane up to in 23?
So we're kind of hitting the road again and trying to do as many live shows as possible with the new album, because it was recorded during the pandemic. So
everybody talks about the live shows. It's all about the gig, isn't it, for you guys?
I think for us as players, it is just that feeling to connect with the audience. It's quite an emotional thing for us, and it's great. It's just great to feel that in a room with people. So that's, our favourite thing.
I could see with the whole band, and again, check out the visuals, go to rte.ie. You've got to see this band live. Everybody was really into it, and you in particular. So sometimes people say, well, should I look at this camera, do that? You just did it.
Well, I think that's it's like as if there's an audience in front of us, because there is, you at home are the audience. Yeah. But,
probably like an early gig.
Yeah, I think connection is the most important thing in music. So if you can feel something from it, that's the most important thing, really.
You guys feel the same way?
No.
Neve's the trouble.
I hate it here.
Neve doesn't like your feelings. Neve doesn't like
you want to be a lawyer.
I do. I'm really smart like that, and I'm got numbers and stuff like this. It's like really, and I love.
Because you have to count through the whole
1,
song.
2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
I have to constantly.
How
count.
high up do the numbers go by the end of the song?
No idea. Just 4.
Just 4.
4.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think, how many bars are 4? There must be like
just 4.
256.
That's too much for me.
Okay, fair enough. That's fair.
Guys, Vernon and Jane, thank you very much. It's been a great pleasure. We're going to play out with the second song. What's it called, Emily?
Origami.
Origami.
I felt a lot of things without you now. Yeah, love ain't one of them. I've done a lot of things without you now. I hate who I'm becoming. I'm thinking like, oh, where did we go wrong? Hell, ain't it about time you found your way home? I'm thinking like, oh, where did we go wrong? If you catch me, I won't run. Oh, just hold me in your arms like an origami. Yeah, ain't it about time that you treat me delicately? Fuck me in the dark like you're fucking for me. Yeah, ain't it about time we expel the energy? I'm thinking like, like for like, I love you for life. I'm thinking like for like, I love you for life. I'm thinking like for like, I love you for life, for life. Oh, like I love you for life. I'm thinking like, yeah, like for like I love you for life. I'm thinking like, yeah, like for like I love you